tuning in to Koppen with Comic. I'm Brian Koppen. We're with comic Jesse Eigner. Jesse Eigner, how the hell are you?
Great, man. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, and let people know where they can see you do stand-up comedy online. It looks like I follow you here on Twitter. You're J Eigs, E-I-G-S on Twitter, and I think you're that on Instagram as well, but you also have jesseeigner.com.
Yes, sir. I'm at J Eigs on all platforms, including TikTok. I just started talking and ticking.
I'm it's talking, and yeah, which one is the preferred verb, talking or ticking?
I think I prefer to tick, but it depends on the day. I talk and I tick.
Yeah, we just had Jarrett Berenstein on, and he said he's blown up on TikTok. I guess he's got some liberal comedy. What kind of stuff are you doing on TikTok?
So I started off putting my stand-up jokes on there. Wasn't getting a lot of traction. I've been recently putting on, I was an NBA ball boy in high school, and I started posting like stories / jokes about my time as a ball boy, and that's gotten a lot of traction. I now have 10,000 followers in the past month and a half. It's been a lot of fun. I don't know if it's real. I don't know if it's they're all Chinese bots, but we'll see.
Even the appearance of success can help.
Exactly.
Well, I guess, and also you have Braised Bits with former guest Lance Parker. It was so fun having him on talking about Braised Bits. What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, I listened to that episode with Lance on Koppen with Comic. Lance did a great job of describing the podcast. It's hard for me to describe. I would say it's mostly us just riffing with our chemistry. We have a lot of sports references. We cook in the pod kitchen, in the virtual pod kitchen these days, and we braise bits, serve them up hot. You got to be in pod shape, which I feel like you're already in pod shape based on what I listened to with your episode, Lance. It's just we have different topics with our highlights, and then the main meat and potatoes is our top 9 each week. We do like a list. This upcoming episode, we're doing our top 9 food shows, so that should be fun.
And so, what do we think is going to make an appearance? So, if I said Gordon Ramsay's, Hell's Kitchen, or the F Word, or 24 Hours of Hell and Back, or what was his other one, Kitchen Confidential? Which one would you rank out of those 4? Which Gordon Ramsay show is your favorite?
Wow, that's a good question. That's tough. I like the Hell's Kitchen. I like him getting in people's faces and screaming. Yes. I like the behind the scenes of in the kitchen. That's my favorite stuff. It's kind of like mini documentaries in the kitchen of restaurants.
Yeah, that stuff gets rough when he smashes the piece of fish on him. He's like, "It's raw, it's raw." That's the best moment in TV, right?
Absolutely. I think chefs are so badass. I think being in it, especially when there's no cameras there and you're just having to sling out dishes, it's intense.
Yeah, it's probably like comedy. You're in there. You're in. Every day on stage, you're in Hell's Kitchen, man. You never know what the fuck's going to happen with the audience, right?
It's true. It really is true. That's why, we started off doing this podcast, Lance and I, because I do a lot of food puns in my comedy. And my opening kind of bit is talking about how I cook on a comedy grill, I cook up hot bits. So I kind of feel like I try to use my comedy because I want to be, I'm a wannabe chef, and I'm very jealous. And I try to find there's a lot of comparisons, I think, with comedy and cooking. You're always getting better, finding different recipes, different bits, can connect with different ingredients. I love food. I can talk about food for years.
Are you in the food service industry as a day job or no?
No, I'm not. Okay. I do public relations during the day.
Right.
During quarantine, I've definitely been cooking a lot more.
Let's just hope your comedy bits can be construed with Gordon Ramsay's favorite words. It's fresh. It's vibrant.
Exactly. That's my goal. I want to serve up fresh hot bits. That's my ultimate goal at the end of the day. I want them fresh. I want them hot, not too sizzling. But I usually set up a buffet line on my bits, so you can kind of, if one bit's not for you, you can kind of go down the buffet. But now in Corona times, I'm not sure if I can have a buffet of bits anymore.
It's not safe. It's provocative. Yeah, any sort of food service thing could be unsafe in the coronavirus. So it's like, if you get controversial with a joke, that's just a potentially unsafe, unsanitary piece of food. It's raw. It's raw.
That's gonna get a poor rating.
And that's not your day job now, but it sounds like you were a ball boy, NBA ball boy.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so one of our topics today is sports without fans. What do you think about the NBA bubble, man? Is it going to work? How long before it pops?
I think that it's going to pop. I think it's just a matter of time when the bubbles pop. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't want it to. I'm so excited to watch live sports again, but I don't know. I think in some other sports, like the MLS has done a bubble, and then they've had to shut down many teams because of the spread of corona.
Oh
I
no.
don't know. I mean, I think it's tough to say. I think the tipping point will be if players get hospitalized. I mean, there's been a lot of players that have been tested positive, and it's kind of mostly been asymptomatic. But I think
Yeah.
if a player gets hospitalized, is really the tipping point of shutting everything down. But we'll see.
Yeah. And I guess it occurred to me on the way here that some of these guys won't be able to have sex for weeks or months, depending on how good their team is. And for me, that doesn't matter, but for them, it does.
that's
My
that's a
Lord.
great point. And I mean, when these guys are on the road during the regular season, that's kind of I think what helps with their mental health. I don't know. That's a huge aspect. I think there's going to be a underground market of smuggling in probably wives and girlfriends and other and other category.
Well, yeah, hopefully they take their temperature first, but maybe those policies were in place before that, like they probably
Right.
had the guy who hooked them up with the clean bitches before.
Right. Exactly. As a ball boy, I have a few stories on my TikTok. I once had to go into the crowd because a player gave me his cell phone number to give to a girl in the crowd. Uh, there's a lot of crazy behind the scene things in
And did you give
professional
it to
sports.
her, and was she of age?
She was of age. She at first thought that I was giving her my number, and she was like, "Why? Who? Like, go away!" And then I pointed to the bench, and like the guy was looking up, and she smiled and took it.
There
And
you
kind
go.
of
Yeah, the reaction's a little different when it's a white guy in
yeah,
a polo and khakis, right?
exactly,
And so what's it going to
exactly.
be like? Yeah, without fans. One of your topics was sports without fans, and are they going to pump in music, or what are they going to do? And how are they going to approximate home court advantage?
I don't know. I mean, from what I've seen, they're going to put in like cardboard cutouts of fans in the stands. I guess they got to pump in. I think the NBA was talking about somehow having the fans at home regulating crowd noise, like the home fans would somehow regulate maybe through their phones, like an app.
Uh,
Uh, but it's going to be artificial, and there's no way to recreate a live energy of a sports event and like it's going to be a much different game, and I think there's going to be less of a home court advantage for sure.
Yeah, and some of the other topics they kind of touch on music a little bit, and they're super relevant now in the fact that some of these players might want Kanye West blared through the speakers, but
Right?
that's pretty political these days because he might be running for president. Do we think that he gets? Do we think he gets on a single ballot and fucks it up for either Biden or Trump?
I do. That was a great transition, by the way. That's phenomenal hosting. You're in your
Pod
pocket. That
shape,
was unbelievable.
pod shape right there.
You're absolutely in pod shape. I'm very scared of Kanye West running for president. I think he will hurt Biden's chances. I think a lot of like independent people. I don't know if independent like people who are actually follow politics will vote for Kanye, but I think Kanye has a huge following. He's got a huge music following, and also now clothing and shoes. He just signed a deal with Gap. He's gonna be putting out like a clothing line with Gap. So he just has a lot of people, and he's also now very religious. So he's gonna have a lot of religious people who follow him.
I think that Gap deal is like the bubble, man. I think that Gap deal is not going to go the whole 10 years. What do you think? He's going to say something to fuck it.
Probably. I mean, but his Adidas shoes, the Yeezys, I think were incredibly successful. It made him a billionaire. So
Yeah.
he does have good taste. It's just I'm a fan of early Kanye. The later once he started supporting Trump and getting political, it really made me sour on him.
Yeah, I mean, even some of the gospel stuff is probably preferable to some of the gospel stuff out there, but even the stuff with Rick Rubin, how he did the Black Skinhead or
Yeah,
whatever, I thought that was solid minimal music. But do we think that he could have made more of a dent in the presidential election had he not gone to Trump first? Like, I
oh,
think if
that's a
he
great
would have,
point.
yeah, if he would have just been, Kanye musician, and this Black Lives Matter thing happens, and he speaks out vocally in favor of racial justice, he could have siphoned real votes away from Biden.
Absolutely, could not agree more. But that's not Kanye. Kanye is so volatile. He's so instinctual. Doesn't think like two steps ahead, which makes him a good artist. But
Yeah.
and like he makes great beats because you can be very like improvisational. But that's not the way you can be in politics. Though
Yeah.
Trump has proven he's
Yeah.
not really thinking ahead of time. That's
Yeah,
what's
the same
crazy.
thing that kind of propelled Trump to the head of the pack, the fact that he doesn't give a shit, and that, you know, he can shatter norms with the best of them. And I think, you know, Kanye, you know, kind of just doing things instinctually and not asking for permission, instead asking for forgiveness. I think a lot of that probably played into the fact that he was so successful stealing people's music for so long. Like, meaning, you know, he could just be like, well, let's just do this soul sample, and if Marvin Gaye's
Yeah.
estate doesn't like it, we'll pay him a couple bucks afterwards.
Right, exactly. That's. I read a funny meme online that someone wants Kanye West to win the election, but at the last second they nominate Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, yeah, I thought about some of that, or she would interrupt his inauguration speech, or she would be the
exactly.
VP or whatever. Yeah, and then you know, it sounds like you know, among your topics here, something that I'm kind of you know, I have a rant about, and I already went into it on a previous podcast. But Hamilton Broadway, what's your take on Hamilton? Like, is it all rap? Because it's just fucking embarrassing and cringeworthy if it's fucking all rap.
It's not all rap. It's a lot of rap. I would say it's 75% rap. A lot, some R&B, some like other like a lot of singing. It's not all rap, but I am a big rap fan. And big fan. I saw the musical off Broadway and on Broadway. I'm a big
You
Broadway
liked
guy.
it. You
I
liked it.
loved it. Yeah, absolutely loved it.
I mean, I guess I'd have to give it a shot, but it's just like, you know, it was so far after the rap. You know, people have been, you know, churning out highly skilled rap and beats for decades. And then the blue bloods who have thousands of dollars to spend on this fucking shit spend it on rap that is laced with informative historical shit. Like, it seems embarrassing, the fact that people would be getting around to rap because of a historical musical.
I kind of see it from the other way. I feel like this gives a lens to people that typically wouldn't kind of want to learn about this part of history, and is more accessible to a certain demographic. I mean, it made me. I'm already pretty interested in politics. I was a political science major, and I'm also a hip hop fan, so the combination was really interesting to me. But I think when I went to see it on Broadway, it was a much different audience than typically. Typically at Broadway shows, it's like an old white, mostly like a lot of Jews, especially in New York, going to
Yeah.
see live theater. But at Hamilton, I mean, the tickets got outrageous, but it was more as a different demographic overall.
Were they bringing their, like, was a rich dad bringing his kind of kid to go see it? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and also Lin-Manuel Miranda like set up some kind of program for the first. He gave out like a percentage of tickets to he at like a lower price, I believe, and
Okay.
and would also give away to different minorities. I think I forget the specifics about that.
See, I don't mind people spoon feeding history to an audience, but I guess I have problems with people spoon feeding rap 50 years after it happened. But I guess one thing that I kind of thought after my last episode when I talked about this was that the cast members were not just fucking straight white dudes. Like, there were some people of color in the cast, and so I shouldn't be too hard
Yeah,
on them.
I think all of the main roles are actually people of color, and that was done on purpose. That's kind of
Okay.
why. Yeah. Um, yeah, I would. I don't. Have you listened to any of the music, like any of the soundtrack at all?
No, like, yeah. So I mean, is the quality of beats up there with a Kanye
Yeah.
West for a Pusha T, or no? Because the
I.
quality of beats can get pretty awesome when you're talking about Kanye West.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But it's. I think it's very good stuff. Very catchy tunes. I listen to the soundtrack on Spotify a lot.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I like it a lot. I think it's really good.
Well, I'm glad we talked about it because I almost think you turned me, but it's even funnier to hear that you were a fucking ball boy, and motherfucker gave you a number to pass on to some chick in the audience.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Real quick,
Unbelievable.
who's gonna win the championship? Is it gonna be the Bucks, or can my beloved Celtics, my recently adopted Celtics, can they pull it off?
I think the Celtics have a good shot at it. I personally like the Clippers. I think Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and Patrick Beverly, Lou Williams, and the Clippers. I think
Yeah.
they're really good. I think Kawhi Leonard is the best player in the league outside of LeBron and Steph Curry. But the Celtics, I think, have a nice young core. Celtics are going to be good for the next at least 5 years. I love
Yeah.
Tatum. Um,
That's why I kind of adopted him about 5 years ago. It was a lot of fun, and of course, you fall in love with people like Marcus Smart. Um,
yeah,
Or
It's
like
fired.
the new Dennis Rodman. You like those defensive bulldogs, but it's going to be interesting to see how these people who rest a lot, the Paul Georges
Exactly.
and or the Kawhi Leonards and the LeBron James. It's going to fun. It's going to be fun to see them pull out all the stops, especially if the Clippers and the Lakers face off in the Western Conference Finals.
That would be amazing. And I
But
agree. The arrested superstar is going to be a lot of fun.
well, we need to get you on a basketball pod too. But it sounds like Braised Bits is the food comedy podcast that you and Lance Parker have, and I can't wait to check it out. And the new episodes drop when?
Every Friday, we drop a new episode of Braised Bits on anywhere where you listen to podcasts.
Oh, good. And we can track that all with J Eigs, EIGS across social, and you're also jesseeigner.com.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me, man.
Oh, Jesse Eigner, you were in pod shape. Thanks a lot.
Thanks again, man.